What's up everyone, I am Jamie with 3littlegoats.com. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Every Saturday I put out a soap making video or a DIY beauty product video, and every occasional random Wednesday, hence why we call it Random Wednesday, we put out some sort of video that we're doing around the homestead, whether it's canning, baking, gardening, putting something together, some sort of craft, whatever tickles my fancy for that particular week. I put those out every occasional Wednesday. Not every Wednesday, not yet at least. And if you've been around for a while, welcome back. Glad to see you, as always. Since it is officially fall, I am making one of my favorite treats to make during the fall. I love it in my coffee, I love it on my muffins, I love it on my apples, I love it just straight out of the container. We are making some homemade caramel sauce. Caramel sauce? Do you call it caramel or caramel? I kind of use them both interchangeably, maybe because I've lived in so many different places and different people call it different things. I call it both. So I will call it caramel sometimes and caramel sometimes else. Just depends. So without further ado, we're going to initiate some voiceover mode, head over to the kitchen and make some caramel sauce. Caramel sauce? We're making some delicious sauce. Let's go.
Alright, for this recipe you're going to need about 3 cups of white granulated sugar. You're also going to need a half a cup of water, as well as 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. You'll also need 10 tablespoons or 2/3 cup of butter, as well as some salt, about 1 teaspoon, and you want your cream and your butter to be at room temperature. You're going to want a large, heavy bottom pot for this, and I'm just going to add in all of my granulated sugar as well as my water, and I'm just going to take a spatula and I'm going to give this a mix without the heat turned on, and I'm going to just get all of the water and sugar kind of incorporated. That way it runs a less chance of crystallizing as well as a less chance of burning. Once the sugar and the water has kind of just been incorporated, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to use my basting brush and get all of the extra sugar off of my spatula. I'm going to turn my heat to medium high, and then from that point I'm not going to agitate my sugar water mixture at all. The only thing I am going to do is take a damp basting brush and run it along the sides of my pot. This is going to do 2 things. It's going to get that extra sugar that is on the sides down, and it's also going to keep the sides of the pot cool so the edges of my sugar water doesn't burn or get overheated too fast. And I'm just going to continue just to do this occasionally until everything starts coming to a nice rolling boil. Once everything comes to a nice rolling boil, I'm going to actually reduce my heat to about medium, and I'm not going to touch this at all. I'm just going to let it just do its thing and get a nice amber color depending on how you like your caramel sauce. I like mine kind of on the blonder side for my coffee and like for my caramel apples to like drizzle it on. If you want to, you can let it go a little bit longer and get a little bit darker and get it just to like that brink of bitterness, which is also very delicious in a caramel sauce. But for me, I'm going to keep it quite blonde because that's the way I like it. Again, it is completely up to you. It took me about 5 to 7 minutes to get to the color that I wanted. You just want to make sure you're not walking away from this. You want to keep a very close eye on it because you can go from beautiful amber to burnt in a split second. Once my sugar has become the nice amber color that I wanted, it was time to add in the heavy whipping cream. And so I'm just going to add that in slowly. It is going to bubble up on you, hence why you want a nice large pot for this. You want to do it slowly and very carefully because this is very, very hot. And I made the mistake of using a whisk that was just a smidgen too small and it got really hot on my hand. So at this point, you'll see me switch over to a larger whisk, which is perfectly fine. It happens. It's just one extra dish I have to clean. No big deal. Rather get a nice big whisk than burn my hand. But this is also why you want to make sure your heavy whipping cream and your butter are at room temperature or a little bit warmer than room temperature. That way you don't risk your sugar crystallizing or seizing up on you. And then once all of my heavy whipping cream is nice and incorporated, I'm going to give it a whisk. And then I am going to grab my butter and I'm going to carefully plop that in. Yes, it's a very technical term, plop. You know I use it, it's very technical. And then once I've added in my butter, I'm going to turn my heat back to medium low, and I'm just going to keep whisking this and just keep a very close eye on it for about 2 to 3 minutes to make sure everything is nice and incorporated and the butter is nice and melted. After cooking it for another 2 to 3 minutes, I went ahead and added in my salt. I'm using coarsely ground sea salt for this. A nice flaky salt works well. And I'm just going to mix that in for a few seconds to make sure it's nice and incorporated. And then I'm going to remove this from the heat and set it on the counter to let cool for about 5 to 10 minutes before I actually pour anything into my glass containers. Now I'm just using some half-pint glass mason jars. If you have some of those really cute sauce jars that like I used in the honey lemon ginger syrup recipe that I posted a few weeks ago, this would be great to put in those and give as gifts. But since I like to kind of just eat this by the spoonful, I like to have them in the mason jars. But if you're giving them for gift, those jars are really cute as well. So I'm just going to pour these in. I'm going to let them sit on the counter until they become room temperature. I don't want to put the lids on too soon and cause condensation to build up. I want to make sure no extra moisture gets into these. And this makes about 4 half-pint jars and just a little bit left over. And then once they become room temperature, I go ahead and put the lids on and I store them in the refrigerator, and they will last 2 to 3 weeks stored in the refrigerator in an airtight container. It is a homemade caramel sauce. You can do so many things with it. You can put it on ice cream. You can put it on healthy-ish donut / muffins that I have posted a recipe for previously. You can eat it by the spoonfuls, or you can be like me and put it in your coffee as well. I love a little bit of heavy cream or half and half in my coffee with just a small spoonful of this caramel sauce. Oh, it's delicious. It's perfect for fall.
Alright, so that is what I have got for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? We put out new videos every single week. And be sure to always check out the description box down below. I will have a printable recipe for you to print out this recipe if you want to make it at home, as well as just links to a whole bunch of other useful information and things that I post on the blog. Because even though if I don't make a video about it, I'll sometimes post blog posts and post things like free printables and organizers and things like that. So be sure to check that out down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!